Hi students, Mrs. Sims here. Please have out this worksheet, the multi-step inequalities. This is where we're going to focus our energy on today. We know how to solve multi-step equations. We know how to solve inequalities. So we're putting these two things together today. So we're going to just go through a couple examples together. I'm going to give you some to try on your own and then time to work on your own as well. But before we start, let's go over the steps. When you're solving multi-step equations, the things you have to remember. Multi-step means there could be distributive property in it, combining like terms. There's more than two steps. There could be variables on both sides. So when there's all those potential things in an equation, we start by using the distributive property. So if there is anything that could be distributed, we distribute first. So distributive property happens first, and then you rewrite the problem. So anytime you see those parentheses with a number on the outside, use the distributive property and then rewrite your equation. The second thing we do is we combine like terms. So if there are any constants that can be combined or variables, we combine like terms, and then we also rewrite for the next step. And then the third thing, if possible or if necessary, we move all variables to one side. So sometimes you have x's on both sides of the equal sign or the inequality sign. You have to move all variables to one side. And then you can actually start solving. And we know how to solve by using the inverse operations, so I'm not going to go over that. But basically, you're undoing that equation or that inequality. So we do reverse order of operations, or you take your PEMDAS, your order of operations, and you work backwards. You get rid of the addition and subtraction first, then you get rid of multiplication and division in order to solve. As far as inequalities, the review there, when you're graphing, an open circle just means greater than or less than, and a closed circle or a shaded circle is reserved for greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, because it indicates that the number that the circle is on is also a solution to the inequality. And then we talked last week, the one little trick is that you have to flip the inequality symbol when in your solving. Flip inequality when you multiply or divide by a negative. So if you have to multiply or divide by a negative, then your inequality symbol flips. We talked about why that happens, but those are the things to remember with inequalities. These are the things to remember with solving multi-step equations. So if we combine those two things, let's jump down to, let's find one with a lot of good stuff in it. Let's do number 7 right here. Let's do number 7. So the first step we said is if necessary, you use the distributive property. Well, this one has distributive property in it. That -4 is on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and rewrite. So 6 minus -4 times 6n is -24n. -4 times 7 is -28. And then that needs to be greater than or equal to 122. Okay, the second thing we said after you use the distributive property is to combine like terms. Well, 6 and -28 are constants that can be combined into -22. So we have -22 minus 24n is greater than or equal to 122. Okay, at this point, we don't have variables on both sides, so we can skip that step. Now we start solving. So order of operations backwards. So we're going to get rid of this constant first, this -22. We're going to get rid of by adding 22 to both sides. We draw a line down the symbol just to keep it separate. So then we're left with -24n is greater than or equal to 144. Then to get n by itself, they're multiplying by -24, so we're going to do the inverse of that, which is divide by -24. Anytime I divide or multiply by a negative, that means my symbol is going to flip. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that symbol to less than or equal to when I write the solution over here. On the left side, we're just left with n. I flipped that inequality symbol because I divided by a negative, and then 24 goes into 144. 6, is that -6? So n is less than or equal to -6. As far as graphing that, we would do our circle at -6 we would shade our circle because -6 is a solution because it's less than or equal to, and less than is everything to the left of -6. So we shade all of those things. Okay, I would like you to try number 10. So you do number 10 right here on your own. Pause the video and then come back when you're ready to see if you got it right. Okay, for number 10, we would start by distributing. So we're left with 30 plus 15R plus 7 greater than or equal to 127. Distributive property done. Then we combine like terms. 37 plus 15R greater than or equal to 127. And now we can start solving by subtracting 37 from both sides. We are left with 15R greater than or equal to 90. To get R by itself, we're going to divide by 15, which we are left with. R is greater than or equal to 6. I did not have to flip because I did not multiply or divide by a negative. So for our graph, we would circle 6. We would shade it because it says greater than or equal to, and everything greater than that is to the right on the number line. Good job if you got that right. Okay, let's do one with all the things. So let's look on the back. Let's do number 17. Why don't you give number 17 a try and then pause the video and come back and see if you got that one right. Okay, for this one, the distributive property is over here, so I'm going to start with that. So this side I'm not going to touch yet. It'll just be -5n plus 6 greater than or equal to -7 times 5n is -35n. -7 times -6 is +42. And then I have that -6n. So I use the distributive property. The next thing I need to do is combine like terms. I have this -35n and this -6n. So that becomes -41n plus the 42. And this side I haven't messed with yet, so it is still the same, -5n plus 6. Okay, at this point, I have variables on both sides. I have n's on both sides, so I could do this one of two ways. I could add 5n to both sides, or I could add 41 to both sides, 41n to both sides. Either way should help me solve this problem. So I'm going to add 41n to both sides to get rid of that larger one. So if I add 41n to both sides, I'm left with 42. The symbol has not changed because I've not done anything that would require that to change. -5n plus 41n is 36n plus 6 is greater than or equal to 42. At this point, I'm at a two-step solving. I'm going to get rid of addition and subtraction first. So subtract 6. I'm going to start writing over here. So I'm left with 36n is greater than or equal to 36. To get n by itself, I'm going to divide by 36 to both sides. So I got n is greater than or equal to 1. Did I miss a negative somewhere? No, I think I'm good. So my solution is n is greater than or equal to 1. So I would circle 1. Shade it because it's greater than or equal to, and greater than is to the right. Okay, you can tell by the number of these that are on your sheet that there's quite a bit of practice. So what I would like you to do is first finish this page, so finish this multi-step worksheet and turn it in. If when you finish this, you still have some time, there are lots of big ideas math assignments that are available as extra practice. So I would like you to work on those. Good luck. Have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow.